Hello my Scrappy friends, it is Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters and thank you for joining me for Kitaholic Kits design team layout. So I started with this super cute paper, but I really wanted to use the purpley paint side. So I cut off about 1/2 inch on two of the sides, so it became an 11 by 11.5 by an 11.5 piece of paper, and stuck it onto a white mat, bringing it back out to 12 by 12. I then have a lot of photos I'm going to work with this layout. So I then spent a little bit of time creating a sequin title. I cut out a cut file, stuck that cut file to some plastic, stuck the sequins on top, realized that you couldn't read it at all, then basically scratched all the sequins off and colored around the cut file in black because that made it a little bit easier to read. Stuck the sequins back on again. You still couldn't read what it was, so then I stuck some of the little thickers that came in the kit on top as well. And now you can read it, not because you can read the sequin words, but because you can read the little thicker letters. It was so cute in my head and it didn't quite work out. What actually does look super cute, and you unfortunately don't get to see it, and I didn't really pay enough attention, but I'm going to try this next time, is actually like the underside. It was much easier to read because the lettering was like on top instead of underneath the sequins. And the sequins were a little bit more subtle. So that's how I'm going to do it next time. So same process, but with the sequins being on the back, like being on the underside and being seen through the plastic, then instead of the sequins being on top. So that's my next way of giving this technique a little try. I did use a lot of glue. It's actually still drying. There's still a few little white cloudy parts on the plastic, but it'll eventually dry. But I just was too excited to keep making the layout. But as you can see, I've got quite a few photos. I've got 4 3x4 photos. So once I trimmed them right down, put them on 2 mats and then stuck them back on again, they just fitted perfectly across the purple section and not going out onto the white border. Ideally, I would have liked to put a little bit of a purple border around each photo, but we go with what we can. This whole layout didn't entirely turn out the way I had it planned in my head. It almost does, but just not quite as cute as what I had planned in my head. I think perhaps far too many photos for such a busy layout. But anyway, I'm going to keep rolling with it. So I'm basing my clusters with one of those cool little like splodges that came in the ephemera pack, as well as another little piece of ephemera. And then I also cut some of the black words off the branding strips as well. I just felt like it needed a little bit more black to tie in the black mats around the photos. I keep the ephemera part of this layout super simple. I was tossing up using some of the cute florals that came in the kit, but decided that I would just work with just a few of the other bits and bobs and just keep it a little bit more simple because there's just so much going on with all of those sparkly sequins. I find sequins really fun in scrapbooking kits, and there's so many different ways you can use them. You can make shaker pockets, you can use them like enamel dots, you can scatter them around the page, you can do like I have done here today, you can string them on a string and like stitch them through. There's just so many different ways you can use sequins in a layout. I am popping some of the ephemera up on foam. I was really unsure where to put that little red rainbow because I was actually trying not to cover up Thomas's beautiful writing because he's so young. He's still in his very start of his writing journey, and I wanted to try and sort of remember how his writing looked when he was still 4. But I did cover it a little bit. I think you can see enough with the happy and the from and, you know, love dad or whatever it says on there. So I think there's enough little specks of writing that's okay. I then decided to pop on the cute little wood veneer hearts that came in the kit. I just used the really tiny ones. and popped those onto each of the clusters, and decided that I didn't really want the wood look. It didn't like tie in with the rest of the layout. All those sequins were so shiny and sparkly. So then I pulled out one of our Novu packs that we got a few kits ago, and just filled in the top of the wood. I'm sorry that you are just getting an amazing view of the top of my head, but I needed to be nice and close so I could watch what I was doing here. And that's one of the Novus that came in our previous mixed media kits. And I'm just popping that beautifully on top of the wood, and you'll be able to see that a little bit better in the close-up photos. Once that is done, this layout is done. I don't add anything else to it. It was getting a bit crazy busy enough as it is. But this is the finished layout. I think that many photos is probably close to the maximum amount of photos that I ever put on a single layout. I feel like it stretches my creativity and really pushes my limits in what I'm able to create with that many photos on a page. But I do thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to share my last December layout with you next week. Bye.